Have you ever had to rebuild your life when everything around you is falling apart? Like you expected to show up as a mom or a dad, as a leader, as a friend, as a daughter, and all these responsibilities that we hold. Hello, wonderful people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Njogu. I am a certified mindset coach, guiding women leaders to find balance in motherhood, career, and life. I am also a published author of the book titled Invite Only, Re-author the stories you tell yourself. In this week's video, I am going to share with you some highlights from a story I shared on my weekly newsletter, Ignite Your Story, a newsletter where I spotlight the stories of African women or women of African origin, how they have managed to balance or find that rhythm in motherhood, career, and life. In this week, I want to share the story about an amazing lady and a story that I just enjoyed reading, and at the same time it got me having tears coming. It just was so emotional. At the same time, it was a story of triumph. I'm talking about an amazing lady from Nigeria. Her name is Victoria Victor. Some of you might know her because she is a force in Nigeria. She is empowering women in Nigeria. And Victoria's story is that of you want to cry, at the same time you want to celebrate. And just to introduce Victoria, she is a mom, she is a leader, a founder, she is a grandmother, she is a friend, she is a mentor. She has all these responsibilities. So in the newsletter, she shared with us her story, and I'm going to highlight some things that stood out for me while I was reading her story. One thing that I'm going to read, one thing that stood out is she said, Jane, I was grieving, my children were grieving, and yet life did not pause. I still had to be a mom, still had to lead, still had to show up for them, for the work, and for myself. I still had to start all over again at 50 years old to build yet another business. The weight was overwhelming. In her story, if you read, you'll see that Victoria lost her husband. She became a widow at the age of 50. At the same time, she lost her business. How do you deal with that? Where do you even start? And that part of her story, it reminded me of how many of us carry this invisible weight. We have a lot on our shoulders, but you keep showing up. You're making dinner, smiling, yet inside you're fighting a lot. You're leading this team, they know you're the best team leader or the best supervisor, the best manager, the best CEO, but inside you're breaking, you're shattering. The glasses, they're just in pieces in your heart. And Victoria's story reminded me something powerful, that strength is not in doing it all. It's about showing up with grace. It's about being aware of the season that you're in, being present for what is in front of you. Because most of us, we find that we live in this cocoon. We don't want to get out. She lost her husband. So for someone, that will be the end of the road. And not just her husband, she lost her business. For someone, that will be the end of the road. But Victoria decided to pick herself up, to rise up. So if you're listening to me right now and you feel like it's the end of the road for you, Victoria's story reminds us that no, that is a choice you're making. It is time for you to rise up from the ashes. It's time for you to lead, at the same time honor the season that you're in. And that means being present, leaning on the people who can support you. As Victoria shares in her story, you understanding what is happening. Another thing that she shared is I've learned that balance doesn't always mean perfection. It sometimes means being present where you are, giving your best, and trusting God with the rest. It means letting go of guilt when I couldn't do it all, and embracing the beauty of progress over perfection. Isn't that what we all want to hear? Especially those of us who are striving for that perfect moment. It's those of us who are thinking like, I'm a failure because I'm not doing things perfectly. Victoria's story is reminding us that You can have different responsibilities. You can be a mom, you can be a leader, you can be a friend, you can be a mentor, you can even be someone who is starting over on top of all these things that you're doing. But you have to choose progress over perfection. Take the baby steps. I have a 1 year old who is now learning to walk, and I can see how she's taking the steps. I can see how she's falling and rising, falling and rising. And that is a lesson that we can apply to ourselves as adults. Life will not stop for us. Victoria's life did not stop. Things stopped in her journey, but life continued. Bills had to be paid, kids had to go to school, she had to put food on the table. So she decided to take that progress, move with progress over perfection. And another thing that she said, and this is my favorite part of her story: motherhood and leadership are not in conflict. And I'm going to repeat that. Motherhood and leadership are not in conflict. They are both powerful callings that can coexist beautifully. I found that to be powerful. I found that to be something that I needed to be reminded as Jane, because I'm raising a baby and at the same time I'm trying to build a business. So Victoria saying that this is someone who has lived this, she has had experience, has saying that motherhood and leadership can coexist. That was powerful. And she said that my children have taught me to lead with empathy. My career has taught me to value impact over applause. And loss has taught me to hold on what truly matters. And according to Victoria, what truly matters to her is faith, love, purpose, and people. And she ended the newsletter by saying, through it all, I have discovered I'm still evolving. And that is okay, because growth isn't a destination, it is a daily decision. Now, again, you're listening to me and you feel like I'm not going to start because I have not figured it all out. You feel like, no, Jane, let me get things together. And I think in my last video I pointed out that action is what we need, right? And Victoria's story reinforces that. She says that you don't need to have it all figured out. What you just need is courage, and I highlight courage in bold letters. You just need courage to start growing. You just need courage to take one step at a time. So, dear listener, which season are you in? Do you feel stuck because something happened and you don't know where to start from? A lot of people are looking at you for guidance. It could be your family, it could be the people that you lead, but you feel like you're stuck because something has happened and you don't know how to begin. Victoria's story is a reminder that start where you are, start with what you have, and embrace growth over perfection. Embrace taking that one step at a time. Embrace moving forward instead of feeling stuck. And that is a growth mindset. That is a mindset that is going to help you move from point A to point B. That is a mindset that is going to help you embrace adaptability. We are living in a VUCA world. We are living in a world that it's moving so fast, change is happening, AI is here, things are happening. So you feel like, Jane, me, I was born in those ages, I don't know how to deal with what is happening now. If you put your mind in the proactive set, in the sense that you desire to learn or you desire to find a solution, then you will find a way to do that. So Victoria's story reminds me that while life cannot be fair to all of us, or life can be unfair sometimes, we have a responsibility to decide whether we are going to respond or we are going to react with what happens to us. Victoria's story, she chose to respond. She responded and said, it's okay, I'm in this season, I've lost my husband, I've lost my business, but I choose to move forward. I choose to start over again. And now she's empowering women. She has provided a digital platform for women in Nigeria where they're able to amplify their voices globally. She's running a business right now. So Victoria decided to respond. And the question I have for you is, are you responding or reacting to what's happening in your life? What do you choose to do? Because the choice that you make will impact your tomorrow, it will impact your next day and all that. So Dear listener, again, I will implore you, it is not the end of the road. Things happen, but how you choose to respond matters. To read Victoria's story, please head over to my bio. I've shared the link there to my Substack account where you can read her story and see more nuggets of wisdom, because today I just shared what spoke to me in her story, but she has shared a lot of wisdom. So, if you're trying to rebuild, if you're trying to reimagine yourself or reimage yourself, if you're trying to stand up again, what I'll ask you to do today is, first of all, breathe. Number two, tell yourself, this is just a season and I choose to respond instead of react. Think about falling down. There's one person who will fall down, rise up and say, next time I have learned. I know there's a pothole here. There's another person who will fall down in the same place. They will rise up. They will be so bitter. They will have a bad day because they feel like the world is against them. So it's how you choose to respond or react. Another story I'll give you before I end this video. I read a story of an American company who sent two people in Africa back in the day, and the two salesperson, the company sells shoes. The two salespeople, they were told to go and check how the market looks in Africa. The first salesperson came back and said, hey, in his presentation, he said, you know what? Don't even bother investing in Africa or the place they have been sent. I'm not sure of the location, but in the story, they say Africa. Don't even bother going there. Nobody wears shoes. The second person came in and said, pack every shoe that you have. There is a big market there. People are not wearing shoes, and that is a market we can tap. So how you look at things matter. The mindset that you use to view things really matter. So the question I ask you is, it could be you feel like you've hit the end of the road, but is that the end of the road, or is it the beginning for you to rise up and be a force in the industry that you're in? Until next video, please, if you've not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next week.